Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about socialism and why it's a terrible idea. First off, I just want to go over the definition of socialism because a lot of people they'll be out there in the streets screaming for socialism, but they don't really know what it is. They think it's like the redistribution of wealth and the end to racism and da 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 equality, but that's not what it is. Socialism is the centralized means of production. And that means that the government makes the decisions on what gets made. So the government decides, how many sheets are going to get made and at what quality. And there's no, they make all the decisions. How many cars are going to get bought? How many bars of soap are going to get made? But as we've seen in Venezuela, which I've been to and I lived there for a short time, it fails miserably when you have capitalism is the private means of production. So that means businessmen who are motivated by profit go out and they decide how many bars of soap they're gonna make and da 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 da, right? And when you have that profit motive, the the economy allocates resources much more efficiently. Because if a guy's got a factory, or correction, an entrepreneur has a factory, he and it makes soap, right? But there's too much soap on the market. He can retool his factory to make face masks because that's what people want right now. They want face masks for this bullshit disease that people are freaking out about. But whatever, that's neither here nor there. You Socialism is the centralized means of production, and they hide behind this stuff about like helping the poor and doing all this bullshit, but it just incentivizes a lot of dead weight, and the people who produce the savers in an economy get fucked. And that's what's happening to you right now. The USA, it is not a capitalist country at all. If it was a capitalist country, they would have let those banks fail in 2008. But they didn't. No, they just bailed them out, which is a socialist thing. Deciding who makes it is a socialist thing. This whole COVID situation with the governments deciding who they're gonna bail out, who gets the what do you call that? Like employment or the unemployment insurance or whatever you call it. Like that's a socialist thing. And socialism, like fascism, is a part of socialism. So when you have these presidents and leaders dictating these policies, it's like what Hitler did. Hitler was a socialist. Hitler created the Nationalist Socialist Party, the Nazi Party, and that's what people don't realize. These lefties out in the streets screaming, seeing Hitler's bad and calling people Nazis. They're the Nazis. They're the fascists screaming out in the streets with their collective ideology. That's fascism. That is socialism. It's a terrible thing. And the only way to enforce socialism is at the end of a barrel. Whereas capitalism, the it doesn't need to be enforced because people are motivated by profit and sound money. Right now we don't have sound money, so the 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 savers, the investors, and the entrepreneurs are getting screwed, while the government officials, their friends who own the big businesses, like I don't have any off the top of my head, but they're the ones who get enriched with socialism, and you get screwed. You lose your access to food, you lose your access to wealth, and the government just steals it all. And man, like I get it. When people are socialists, I get it. They just want a more equitable situation. They see what's going on, like the wealth gap, that which is crazy, the biggest wealth gap in the history of the world. That is a direct result of socialism. That is a direct result of fiat currencies being printed and the government just stealing from the people. It happens all the time. Happened in Rome. It's happening in the States right now. Happened in the USSR. It's unsustainable and it's not gonna work. So when you hear these people talking about like equality, and equality of opportunity is good, but equality of outcome is fucking terrible. Because the only way to make a forest equal is with an axe. Remember that saying: the only way to make a forest equal is with an axe, which means you can only take people down. You can't build them up. But first off, when they talk about equality, redistribution of wealth, which is fucking theft, um, over taxation, like the tax, what we have right now is crazy. printing a bunch of money, government intervention, da 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 da. That's socialism. It's bad. It's failed in every single country it's ever been tried in, and I saw it firsthand. I saw it in Venezuela, and gringos don't understand what is coming down the pipe. It is so nasty and so terrible that you like you can't even imagine it. Like, people's kids are gonna die, people's cousins, they're gonna get murdered by gangs in the streets because the police, they're talking about this defund the police shit. Um, they're gonna take your guns. They're gonna take them one way or another. They're gonna tax them more. They're gonna do all this stupid shit. Um, yeah, that's another thing about socialism. When they talk about confiscation of firearms, you should be very wary because that's what they did in Venezuela. They did it in 2012, took everyone's guns in the interest of public safety, and look what happened to them. Getting gunned down. People are getting gunned down in the streets. Middle class people are getting executed in the streets by poor people, like the poor people who at gunpoint enforce the government's ideology because they get free food, free gas, free houses, whatever, all this free shit and free guns and free ammunition. And they love it. And the criminals are waiting. The criminals are waiting in the street, in their houses. They're waiting for an opportunity, and it's coming. Socialism is here. Whether you realize it or not, your wealth is being taken from you and given to armed groups like we have Antifa and Black Lives Matter. Like those groups are just Marxist militias in the waiting, who gang up on people, and they say they're doing it in the interest of like the common good and the benefit of all, but they're only in it for themselves. Socialists are not in it for other people. They hide behind their morals, but a lot of them, there's two types. There's these psychopaths who are just sitting and waiting, um, who take advantage of the other people who are like the I don't know what the word is. They're utopic. They think of things like it's a utopia. They think, oh, wouldn't it be nice if everyone just had enough food and enough this and enough that and didn't have to work and had no guns, no one's getting gunned down. But we live in the real world, and they don't realize it. They're living in a fantasy world, and these psychopaths take advantage of these pie in the sky people. You know, free education for all and free this and free that. Someone's got to pay for it. Like an economy, a society has to pay for it. And when you punish the productive people and give it to the non-productive people, it doesn't work. And the non-productive people will use guns to enforce it, and the government will protect the unproductive people because they vote them in. Democracy is a terrible idea. It Democracy for all is a terrible idea. If you are on welfare, you or employment insurance or whatever, you should not get the opportunity to vote. Um, and people are on their computers like they're gonna be getting all mad because I just said that, but there has to be an incentive to get the opportunity to vote. Um, you know, it's crazy. We've lost our way, and everyone's so afraid of being called a racist, and everyone's so afraid of being called a homophobe or whatever, and they want to do the right thing, right? But the right thing is not socialism and bending the knee to these Marxists, these fucking commies, man. It's a terrible idea, and we will pay the price in the end. Uh, and I hope that we can deal with this problem before the end of my life, because I, I don't want to see my future children living through this. I don't want to see your future children living through this. Um, I don't want to see standard of living of people go down. I don't want to see people getting gunned down and unable to protect themselves just because they did the right thing and listened to the government. The government does not have your best interest at heart. They have their own best interest at heart. Everyone on this earth has their best interest at heart. But people only care what it seems like. They only care what they can see. They can't look past their own nose. They can't look at the consequences. Like when the government came in and bailed out all those businesses in 2008, like all those banks, what they should have done is those banks should have fucking failed, and then young entrepreneurs, would have come in and bought up all the assets and started their own banks. We don't need all this government oversight. We need educated people. We need people with a good education, which they're not getting in government schools, to make good decisions. And they just get the common sense beaten out of them in school. Like a 5-year-old can tell you that you need to produce goods for wealth. Like things, there's no such thing as a free lunch. A fucking 5-year-old can tell you that. But a liberal arts major in the university can't contemplate that. They're just oppressed victims. Um, and there's an epidemic in our society right now of feminine men letting these fucking tyrants run around. And you know what? You gotta be aware. You gotta put your foot down. You gotta go learn how to fight. Go learn some fucking martial arts. I said that in a previous video. Go learn some martial arts and stand up for your neighborhood. Stand up for your barrio. There's a word in Spanish. It's called barrio, and it means neighborhood. Now, one thing I learned down in South America is that people have pride for their neighborhood. Like there's neighborhoods there's neighborhoods in Venezuela that they're not even a part of Venezuela. Like there's this one called Petare. It's the biggest slum in all of Latin America, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a dog shit place. I'm not saying it's a good place, but they have so much pride for there. It's like it's its own country. And the government cannot go in there and tell them what to do. The police will get fucking murdered if they go in there. And but the people have so much pride in their neighborhoods. But gringos, we don't have pride in our neighborhoods. We're just like, oh, I'm American, I'm Canadian, I'm fucking Dutch, I'm whatever. But they don't realize that the invaders are arriving and we're in the midst of this war. And we're getting screwed. Like it's terrible. I see what's going on in Portland right now, and it's terrible. Like we are at war, and no one's willing to stand up. Everyone's asleep at the wheel while history's in the making. So, guys, if you have a friend who's a liberal, show them this video. Let them know that socialism is not the future, and it never will be. The free market always comes up. In Venezuela, it happened. They used to have that bullshit currency, the bolivar, and eventually the government just had to say, yeah, we can't enforce this anymore, and U.S. dollars became legal tender. And it used to be not. They used to be illegal for Venezuelans to have it. So the free market always wins. Um, Always free market. Don't submit your rights. Like they're gonna come out with these fucking cryptocurrency, um, U.S. dollars. They're talking about it. They're talking about it in Canada too. Um, these uh, these digital currencies. Yes, take advantage of. What they'll do is like, oh, if you download the app, we'll give you an extra 2,000 or some bullshit like that. Do it. Take advantage of it, but it's a losing game. And be smart enough. Be awake to understand that it is a losing game. You're gonna lose with that shit. Okay. That this video's been long enough. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, I'll catch you later. Thanks. Bye.